Making money in Grand Theft Auto Online, especially as a new player, can be incredibly tricky, and it's always smart to save as much money as possible buying only the cars you need. In today's video, I'll be breaking into the top 5 best beginner cars to start off with. And, well, we obviously know what one of the vehicles making the list is, the Armored Kuruma. Now, I should point out that I'm not making this list like 1 through 5. It's literally just going to be, these are 5 cars that if you're a new player, you should pick up, and these are the reasons why. Because I feel like ranking them doesn't really make too much of a difference when they're all very, very good. As always, if you enjoy today's content and you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But with all that said, let's talk about the Armored Kuruma and why it's such a good car. It's very simple. It is completely bulletproof to basically anything. As we can see, I am having helicopters shoot at me, I am having policemen shoot at me, and sure, there might be the occasional stray bullet that damages you, but for the most part, as we can see, the Armored Kuruma is never really gonna be a problem. You can sit in front of massive amounts of players, NPCs, and basically complete any mission with relative ease. I mean, I've literally taken 1 speck of damage throughout all of this fire, and there you go, 1 tiny bit more. So I would highly, highly recommend to pick up the Armored Kuruma, especially because it's only $525,000. I'm pretty confident just about any veteran would recommend the Armored Kuruma for a new player, as this is literally the best of the best when it comes to armor and protection. Now do keep in mind that you're not invulnerable while driving this car. You do get blown up with 1 explosion, so that's always something you should keep in your mind. If you're up against other players and they know what you're driving, they'll just pull out an RPG, and that'll be the end of your happiness. So I would mainly only recommend to use this against NPCs and mostly missions, things like the Dr. Dre setups or, you know, Titan of a job, stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend for anything that involves actual explosions or other players. Now we arrive to your choice of speed, the Body 801. This is basically a poor man's supercar, and while that sounds like a bad thing, trust me, this motorcycle is absolutely insane. First of all, it's fast. I mean, you can see we are going very fast right now. It can do a wheelie at a top speed of around 140-ish miles per hour, which is insane. When you pair that to the fact that it's also one of the best maneuverability motorcycles, yeah, it's just amazing. It's got speed, acceleration, handling, it's the whole kit and caboodle. When you pair that with the fact that this motorcycle is literally free, you can find it driving around on the streets of Los Santos and just steal it, put it in your garage and you own it. I mean, it won't be this variant because I'm driving the special Redwood variant, which you can buy on Southern San Andreas for like 15 grand. But yeah, you'll find the normal one without the livery. It's literally just a free bike. I remembered completing this time trial I'm actually doing when I started my Broke to Billions account on a stock Body 801. I mean, that's how good this motorcycle is on overall lap time. So I would really recommend, even if you're a decently experienced player, just to get the Body. It's fast, it's got everything you'd want going for it, and as I said, it's cheap. So if you end up not liking the motorcycle, it's not like you spent a lot of money on it. 15 grand is basically free. The best thing as well is that you don't really need to upgrade this vehicle to do well in it. Obviously, as a new player, you're not going to have access to higher level upgrades like engine tuning, turbos, things like that. And that really helps supercars specifically. But because the Body's main speed boost actually comes from wheeling, it means that you don't actually need to worry too much about not having the turbo or all the engine upgrades available to you, because you can just use the turbo. So as you can see, I'm 1 minute 40 seconds on the clock so far trying to complete this time trial. And we're basically done. I'm just gonna drive a little bit down here. Normally I would take the shortcut, but I haven't done this time trial in a while, and I think it's a lot safer just to follow the actual written path of the road. But I mean, you can see how easy this is either way. We're just gonna drive right down here, take that little cut through the road, and well, I got flung off my motorcycle, but I think this just about proves how quick you complete these time trials. Even with falling off my motorcycle, we still might actually be able to complete this. Let's see how much time we have left, and oh my god, we actually are. So this just shows how fast the Body 801 is. We actually completed that, $102,000. So yeah, I would highly recommend for people to buy the Body. Next, we arrive to the Shen V12. This is one of my favorite armored vehicles in the game. First of all, it's cheap. It's only about $200,000, but it's actually got some pretty solid armor going for it. First of all, it has semi-bulletproof glass, and what I mean by that is you can shoot at the glass with 26 rifle rounds before you actually start to break through and damage the player behind. Now, that's nothing amazing, but if you're driving pretty fast and somebody just decides, spray at you, it will actually give you some decent protection. This car can also survive one explosion. So you can see we've thrown a grenade on the ground there, and as you can see, the vehicle is still indeed intact. I can still get in it, I can still drive it. These are all great things. Now, 2 explosions will get rid of the car, so keep that in mind. If somebody's shooting non-stop homing missiles at you, this car will only be able to survive 1. The second one, I am bailing out of this vehicle instantly, but still, it's very impressive. Pair that into the fact that this vehicle is a 4-seater, meaning that if you're ever planning on doing heists or, you need other people in your car, this is obviously a great car for that. And because it's in the sports class, it's actually pretty fast. Actually, it's in the sedans, but it's a very fast sedan. It's 124 miles per hour, making it one of the fastest sedans in the game. In fact, it's the second best on lap time. I honestly forgot this was a sedan because the base variant without the armor is the sports car, but this one's a sedan. Still incredibly fast, very well armored, and I would highly recommend to pick up. Next up on the list, we got a big chunker, the Brickade 6x6. Why is this vehicle so good? Well, first of all, it's free. If you complete the first dose missions, which are part of the Los Santos Drug Wars DLC, you will get this vehicle completely for free. It's normally an $850,000 purchase, so that's an absolutely fantastic deal. But it gets even better. The Brickade 6x6 features a mobile money-making machine, because it literally is an acid lab. Going inside of the Brickade will allow you to start up sale missions. For example, this week you can make double money with the acid lab, which is a $900,000 profit if you're selling in a public lobby. That's absolutely insane. Pair that to the fact that the Brickade's actually pretty fast, reaching a top speed of around 110 miles per hour. It can easily shove vehicles out of the way. I mean, look at that. No problem whatsoever. And the best part, the Brickade can survive 50 explosions. Yes, you heard that right, 50. That means essentially you are indestructible, you are fast, and you make money with this vehicle, all at the price of free. So I would highly recommend that for any of you that have not participated or are new to the game, you need to finish the first dose missions for Dax, because this is by far one of the most important early game vehicles you will ever get your hands on. As an honorable mention, we break into the Duke O Death. This armored muscle car is free, and that's why it's an honorable mention. I'm not going to put a vehicle that costs $0 in the actual top 5, because I want to put vehicles that cost a bit of money. But anybody that has a brain will buy the Duke O Death. This vehicle is fast, reaching a top speed upwards of 115 miles per hour. It has decent handling for a very heavily armored muscle car. Because it weighs a lot, it's pretty easy at shrugging cars out of its way, as we can see, like that Sabre Turbo in front of me, or even this big SUV. You don't really slow down all too much in the Dukes when pushing people out of your way. It can survive 6 homing missiles while the occupant is driving the car, 4 while you're outside of it. I've never understood why vehicles survive less explosions while you're not in them, but it doesn't really matter, because if you're not in the car, you're not obviously going to have to worry about being blown up. And the best part about the Dukes is it also features pretty decent protection against bullets. The entire back is completely bulletproof. As you can see, the bullets are getting stopped. And the front also has okay bullet protection. This metal plate on the bottom and the top is completely bulletproof. Same for this side. The problem is you can obviously shoot right through the slit here, and you can also shoot through this little slide. So the vehicle, I'm not going to say it's like a 10 out of 10 on bullet protection, but it's basically the best combination you're going to get between bulletproof armor and great missile resistance, paired with speed, acceleration, and basically unstoppable capabilities. This is an amazing car for a new player, and it's one of the vehicles I used for a lot of my heist setups when I was starting off. And finally, we arrive at the Ocelot Virtue. This is actually my favorite supercar in the game. Normally, you would have to spend upwards of $2 million to get your hands on this supercar, which is a lot of money. And you might be asking, well, why the heck would you recommend a new player to spend $2+ million on an unupgraded supercar? Well, very simple. After completing the first dose missions for Dax, as I said earlier, you get the Acid Lab. However, if you complete the next set of missions, which is the last dose, you will get the Ocelot Virtue for completely free. That is an insane deal, and I would highly recommend for anybody that has not completed the last dose missions and doesn't own the Virtue to do so. First of all, the Virtue is fast. It reaches a top speed of 120. And while that's nothing insane for, top speed, it's the acceleration this vehicle has. It is the fastest accelerating supercar in the game. Pair that into the fact that this vehicle has very good handling, and it's actually in the top 10 for lap time. When you add all of these things together, with the fact that it's an Amani tech car, which means when upgraded with the proper armor and missile lock-on jammers, first of all, nobody will ever be able to hit you with a missile, because they can't shoot missiles at you. They won't lock on. Homing missiles are useless. Add that into the fact that this car also can get armor that will survive upwards of 10 missiles. Yeah. The Virtue is absolutely insane. It literally has everything going for it, and that is why it is my favorite supercar in Grand Theft Auto Online. I would highly recommend for any players, new and experienced, to get your hands on this vehicle. It's fun to drive, it's an amazing looking car, and it's just such a good deal. So I'll see you all in the next one, and let me know if you agree with the video. Bye-bye.